Good morning. Katie, is that you?
Hey, David, it's me.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Right now, this is a very small group. It's you and me.
That's pretty small.
Yes, yes, it is. So I'll tell you what. Let's give this a moment, and if we can't expand the group, if this is something of interest to you, we can tackle this one-on-one.
Sure.
All right, good. Although, you know something, this is curious. I think I'm seeing a few other people who are joined, but not to this meeting. So I think I'm going to reach out to them, and I think I just joined them in.
Okay.
I think. All right, we're up to 3. We're killing it. I'll tell you what, since there's now 3 of us, and thank you for joining, let me get this started. Let me arrange the screens here. Hopefully we can, oh, and I need to remind you all that this is being recorded. All right, can everybody see a title screen that says Building a Professional Referral Network?
Yes.
Wonderful. I might get the hang of this yet. Let's give this just another moment or two, see if we can see if there's anybody else who wants to join. And then we'll get started so that everybody can make the most of their day. I like that Coldwell Banker pocket square. It's pretty snazzy. You might need one of those. There's another photo, I think, of the same gentleman with some Coldwell Banker logoed socks. Also of interest.
Yeah, I could do like a female neck scarf. I think that would be cute.
There is one. There's
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. As I go through this, I think there's a slide of a lady's scarf. So let's see. All right. Well, let's get started. Thanks everybody for joining. And we're going to delve into how to build a professional referral network. And we're going to differentiate that from your personal SOI. So let's jump in. So, we talk an awful lot about developing, maintaining, and remaining in contact with your personal sphere. And clearly, that's extremely important, but there is a whole world of other referral sources that, in my opinion, in my experience, can and should be cultivated. In fact, I will tell you that when I started in real estate about 10 years ago, I did not then, nor do I really now, work a personal sphere like most other people. I have built my business from cultivating a professional sphere, people who I can refer to, people who are willing to refer to me. Um, so let's take a look at what that might look like. How do you reach people in order to build a professional referral network? Well, there's a lot of places to go. Chambers of commerce, houses of worship, youth athletics. Um, there are really any group that's formed and is conducted for the purpose of educating, um, groups that operate because there's a common goal, a common cause. Some of those are listed at the bottom. There are philanthropic groups, there are support groups, there's charities, there's groups whose purpose is to serve the senior community. And then there is also groups that are formed for the sole purpose of networking, like BNI, Business Networking International. So the great news about going to any of these networking opportunities is that everybody's there for the same reason. They're there to meet other people. They're there to introduce. They're there to introduce people they know to other people. In short, they're there to collect and to be collected. You see, there's the Coldwell Banker logoed scarf for ladies. I thought I saw that. Um, so once you're at any of these gatherings, don't be a secret agent. You need to let people know that you are a real estate professional. And it just comes up in the way of conversation. You weave that into a conversation. If you're meeting somebody for the first time, that's easy. Hi, how are you? What do you do? Well, I'm a real estate agent. So it's pretty easy to get that woven in. And what you're looking to do once you've connected with somebody, um, you're trying to ascertain as quickly as you can. And and right now you're just operating at a surface level. Um, is there any possibility that they have a real estate need? Um, do they work with people who might be a referral source for you? And to whom can they introduce you who can broaden both your personal and your professional networks? Now, here's the key. When you're at these gatherings, you're just there to get a name and some contact information, which leads you to setting up a meeting beyond this first one. So You go to a gathering, you meet some people, you collect some business cards, and what do most of us do once we have them? We put them in a pile on our desk. Doesn't work. Business cards don't create opportunities. You need to enter them immediately into your database, into your CRM. Once you've done that, you can decide whether to start dripping them or include them in a mailing list, but follow up with that person straight away. Same day, next day at the outside. You send them an email, you pick up the phone, you send a text message, you remind them about the context in which you met and suggest a meeting. You want to do it at a convenient place for them, and you want to do it soon because you don't want to lose the momentum of the meeting. Let's take that a step further. Let's say, for example, you meet 3 people that you'd like to spend some more time with. What I'd like to suggest is stacking those meetings. Pick a place, plant yourself there, whether that's a Panera, whether that's a restaurant, wherever it is. But try to schedule the 3 meetings back to back to back. That makes your time efficiently used. But schedule it soon, get it done, pick up the phone. The sooner you get these people integrated into your network, the faster you can be of assistance to one another. Now, when you get to this meeting, and we're going to go into some detail about this, you want to be prepared with a lot of questions. What do you do? How do you do it? Who do you come into contact with? Questions lead to more questions. But this is the important part, and again, we'll go deeper into this as well. You are looking to establish a mutually beneficial relationship. You are not there for the sole purpose of trying to see if this person can feed you. You must be willing to help them with their business, or you're just somebody else with your hand out. And that doesn't play. It doesn't work. You don't want to be that selfish real estate agent. You want to make sure that you're bringing value to them as well. So one of the things that I've found to be helpful, and this is just a brief diversion, as you gather people, you may find it helpful to have a personal CRM and a professional database. And the reasons are pretty simple. What you want to say in a drip or a mass email to a professional database may be different from what you want to share on a personal level. And you would approach them with different opportunities. Each group has a different need. So just a thought to keep these 2 groups separate, although there could very well be some overlap. So you've met somebody, you've scheduled your one-to-one, and here's where it is important before going into any of these meetings that you have embraced the notion of giving before you get. Now, BNI talks at every meeting about giver's gain. And what that means is when you give freely to other people without any expectation whatsoever of getting something in return, people are more likely to return the favor. But the key to this is being sincere and following through and really believing that you're going to be of service, you're going to be of assistance. You don't expect anything in return, and this is the way you create a long-term professional relationship with somebody. Yeah, if you enjoy one another socially and it goes beyond that's great. That's not the objective. The objective is to learn how you can help one another's business. So you got to find out what it is you can give to them. So as you're speaking, the most important question you can ask: to whom can I introduce you? That's what you're there to learn. Who can you help these people meet? Everybody's got a somebody that they don't know or haven't met that they want to. And maybe that's a specific person. Maybe that's a type of person. Maybe that's a certain profession. Whatever that is, this question is the one, and you ask it again and again and again. And every time you meet with this person, because you want to meet more than once, every time you see somebody, this is the question that leads you down the appropriate path. To whom can I introduce you? Once you understand the type of person or the specific person that someone is looking to meet, you get to be the connector. The connector is the facilitator. The connector is the person who brings people together. And when you're the connector, you're helping two people. That's expanding your network. That's two people who you're inducing to come back to you with their referrals. And again, the key to this is be generous, be sincere, and follow through on what you say you're going to do. So at some point, you're there to gather information about somebody else, but you also want to be prepared to share specifically with the people with whom you're meeting, you know, who do you want to meet? And tell them. And again, maybe that's a type of person, maybe that's in our business, maybe you want to meet lenders. Um, for me, financial advisors and attorneys have been a great referral source. So tell them who you want to meet and why you want to meet them. Give them examples of the types of people you've met and why they're important to your business. Help guide them, help them connect the dots so they can help you. Now, you want to introduce people. When you're a connector, that's that's the objective, to introduce people. There is an art to introducing people. It's more than just providing contact information. That's the easy part. But you think about this, you're bringing together two strangers. This message, and it's usually in an email, sometimes it's a phone call on the spot. You're meeting with somebody and you say, hey, I know somebody who can help you. You pick up the phone and you do this with the person you're meeting within the meeting, and you give them the phone. That's really effective too. But in general, you're going to do an email. So you're explaining why you're reaching out and why this introduction is going to be good for both of you. So the way to do this properly, this is the most important part, and this is commonly left out. You edify the other person. You talk them up. You explain why this is someone worth meeting, that they're good at what they do, that they are unique, that they have skills, knowledge, that they have a network of people who are going to be beneficial to you. So contact information, edify, why the introduction is important to both parties. And then after you've made that introduction, give it a little time to percolate, give that meeting time to happen, but follow up with both parties afterward and find out if there was value in making that introduction. That's important because you're suggesting that people spend their time. Nothing's more valuable to any of us than our time. So by following up and making sure that you're on the right track with the introductions that you've made, you're once again securing your place in the hierarchy of people's referrals network. So there's another way to expand your professional network, and that's using your personal sphere to dovetail and build on your professional network. Now, when you're meeting with clients, and clients are the largest part of your SOI, your goal is to be a trusted advisor. And part of being a trusted advisor is being of ongoing service to your clients. So there are questions that you should be asking every time you meet with a prospective buyer or seller. What I'm suggesting to you is that if it's not already a part of your presentations, integrate a slide like this. And toward the end of the presentation, ask them, do you know a lender, a handyman? Do you have a will? Do you need a trust and estate attorney? Do you have a CPA? Do you have a financial advisor? Whatever, and these are just examples, but you're reaching into your personal sphere to ask people who they need professionally. I hope we've all had the experience that even years after helping somebody buy or sell, they reach back out to you and say, hey, you know something? I want to do some new flooring. Do you know anybody? You want to be that person because that keeps you top of mind. It also permits you to continue to draw into your referral network and use it to your advantage and to the advantage of the people you want to continue to serve. So this has been a really effective tool. It's low key. You're already talking about helping them as a buyer or a seller. This just expands the scope of what you can do for them. And it comes with the explanation that, hey, we want to be a full service advisor to you, and this is part of it. So in starting to summarize, it is vitally important if you're going to build this professional network. It requires, like any other part of our business, any other CRM, you got to continue to pay attention to it. So that first one-to-one, that's the start. That's where you initiate the relationship and you start to learn about one another. But understand, I mean, it's like anything else. You meet somebody, hey, you like them, you get together, you have coffee. Well, the friendship doesn't grow unless there's more meetings, more get-togethers, more activities together. So you follow up, you come back to them at an interval that's comfortable for both of you. Now, sometimes people are uncomfortable reaching out to folks, and it doesn't matter if you're going to call somebody, whether it's your professional or your personal CRM. Sometimes people wonder, well, what do I have to say to them? Do we have a purpose for getting together? What's the reason for this conversation? Well, you come back to, who can I introduce you to? Always a valid question. People always have a need. So ask it every time you encounter somebody in your sphere. To whom can I introduce you? Another reason to call people, and let's use some of our activities here. We're hosting folks for the air show. Well, call them, invite them to the event. That's a way to, you've got a great reason for touching somebody. You're inviting them to an event, to a seminar, something that is beneficial to them. And even if they can't come or choose not to, they will absolutely appreciate being remembered, being invited, and being included. Whether or not they come is less important than the invitation. Sometimes, and using Jim Doerr's weekly emails, there may be some information that you have that's going to be of interest and use to somebody else. It's a great reason for picking up the phone, sending out an email, say, hey, I heard this today, made me think of you. You're giving them something of value, and information has great value 100% of the time. So to close the loop, we're looking to, when we meet people who we want to be part of our professional sphere, cultivate these people and be cultivated for a professional referral network. We need to learn who they are, what they do. We need to really understand what their business is and how they help people, how they work with people. We then endeavor to introduce them to people in our existing network, which helps us expand our network, our worth to other people. We have to maintain contact because relationships, all relationships, require attention, require communication. So you got to stay on top of this network. And then even as you're growing it with your existing contacts, you repeat this over and over and over again to build and maintain the network. So I'm going to try to stop sharing the screen and see if I can get the camera to work. If we've got some time for questions for Q&A. So if anybody has questions, thoughts, come off mic and share with the group.
David, can you hear me?
Yes, Katie, go ahead.
Is that slide that you suggested, is that something that's in like an option to select, or is that something I have to create?
What I showed you, Katie, was something that I created for my purposes. That said, I think that's fairly standardized. So the short answer is no, that doesn't exist, but I think it's pretty easy to create.
Yeah, okay.
David, can you hear me?
Yes, Stephanie.
So as I'm building my CRM, I've got, like you had mentioned, I've got, my personal sphere, then I have people that I'm meeting that are, directly real estate related.
Mhm,
And I'm trying to figure out how best to, I don't want duplicates in my contacts list, right? I've got people that I've built, their contact information in my iPhone. Then I've got my CRM list on my phone, for example. I can combine both. I'm just trying to figure out a clean way to track because I do want to keep up with how many times I've talked to someone in my sphere so that I
mhm,
know I'm reaching out enough. But how
mhm.
do you kind of manage that?
Depending upon your CRM, what I'd suggest is building fields into the CRM so that you identify somebody as, professional or personal. And also, again, again, depending on your CRM, great CRMs help you maintain contact records for each person. Um, Goodness knows there's so many CRMs out there. And full disclosure, I haven't explored the Moxie CRM enough to know that that is or isn't an option. Um, but I think the key to this is using the CRM platform effectively to help you know how many times you've touched somebody and what the crux of the conversation and the exchange has been. Does that make
So I should,
sense?
so I should probably just load everyone personally into my CRM and maybe just turn that off on my iPhone so the duplicates don't show.
Um, that's probably wise, Stephanie, because otherwise you're effectively maintaining two separate
Mm-hmm.
systems, and it's just you. I think that might be creating additional work for yourself that you just don't need to do.
Agree. Thank you.
Sure thing. Anybody else have thoughts, questions, anything they want to share with the group?
I have another question.
Sure, Katie.
So I'm, involved in a couple different things, different groups or organizations, and kind of newer to the mix. And there's, already a real estate agent in that sphere of people.
Mhm.
And then another person recently was licensed, and, they've been a close friend and colleague of that group as well. So, you know, I, I got a little discouraged. Like, how am I going to compete with these people that know this group much better and is more close knit with them?
Mhm.
So, is there anything that similar that you've experienced and something that made you stand out or that you work towards to stand out?
That's a sensational question. Uh, so first, you have to start with the premise that no one person is all things to all people. Even in groups where a member has longevity, that doesn't necessarily mean they're popular. It doesn't mean necessarily that if someone has a real estate need, it's going to flow to them. So the first part of trying to overcome that longevity and that familiarity is to be present. You will only get out of any group what you put into it. So you got to, if you're a member, be there, attend, contribute. And so let's take like a chamber of commerce as an example. So there's a monthly chamber meeting, there's a luncheon. That's just the opportunity to meet some people. The real magic happens in the smaller groups. You want to drill down to as small a group as you can get so that you can really start to get personal with people and let them see who you are. that you're somebody who's smart and knowledgeable and someone who's going to be a great addition in their sphere. So be present, contribute, communicate, follow up, and in the same way that the longer term members may not be all things to all people, neither will you be. But you don't have to be. If you join a group and you make 1, 3, 5 significant contacts, that's an enormous win. In a group of 25, 50, 100 people, that's just more opportunity. You don't have to have all 100 people. You just want the select few that are going to be the most meaningful to you. And that's the hard work. So do not assume that just because somebody's been there longer, that everything automatically goes to them, because it's just not the case. It's up to you to just present yourself and be who you are and help people understand why they want to get to know you and have a relationship with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Anybody else? All right. I think we've covered off on everything, unless there's something else to add. Clearly, if anyone is looking for some assistance in finding a group or how to navigate this referral network development, I am available to you. So as part of the job, I've done this for the 10 years that I've been an agent, so may have some ideas to share. So by all means, let's get together and talk. So thank you for being here today. I hope you find this useful, and everybody have a great week.
Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.